The storm rolled in without warning. One moment, the crimson dunes outside my cabin were still, the twin moons hanging low over the horizon of Kalian 7. The next, the wind howled like a wounded beast, hurling sand hard enough to score metal. My perimeter sensors flickered, struggling to stay online as the electromagnetic interference spiked. I cursed softly and pulled my jacket tighter. Life on the frontier taught you to respect storms, or die pretending you didn't. That was when the door chimed. I froze. Nobody came to this part of Kalian 7. The mining routes had shifted years ago, and the nearest settlement was a 3-day trek through hostile terrain. I checked the external cam, half expecting a glitch. Instead, I saw her. She stood hunched against the wind, cloaked in torn fabric not meant for this world. Her frame was slight, almost fragile, but she remained upright despite the storm's fury. Pale skin marked with faint bioluminescent lines glowed softly beneath the sand. Her eyes, too large, too luminous, looked straight into the camera.
Alien.
My hand hovered near the door control. Frontier rule number 1. Don't open your door unless you're prepared for the consequences. The chime sounded again. Softer this time. I sighed. Damn it. The door slid open with a hiss, and the storm tried to force its way inside. I grabbed her arm and pulled her in before thinking better of it. The door sealed behind us, and the cabin fell into sudden, blessed silence. She staggered, nearly collapsing. I caught her shoulders, surprised at how cold she felt. Easy, I said. You're safe. For now. She looked up at me, eyes wide with something between fear and relief. Her translator implant crackled faintly. Shelter, she said. Please. I nodded. You've got it. That was all she'd asked for. Or so I thought. I gave her water first. She drank carefully, as if afraid it might vanish if she rushed. Up close, I could see how young she was. Hard to tell alien ages, but her movements had an uncertainty to them, a hesitance that reminded me of someone far from home. I'm Elias, I said, keeping my voice calm. This is my cabin. You can stay until the storm passes. She hesitated, then bowed her head slightly. I am called Saris. Nice to meet you, Saris. Her gaze darted around the cabin, cataloging everything, the walls, the heater, the emergency rations. She relaxed a fraction when she realized there were no restraints, no visible weapons in my hands. I gestured toward the thermal blanket near the couch. You look frozen. She wrapped it around herself, then surprised me by sitting on the floor instead of the furniture. Habit, she said quietly, noticing my glance. I frowned, but said nothing. Minutes passed. The storm raged outside, rattling the walls. Saris sat perfectly still, hands folded in her lap, as if waiting for something. So, I said gently, what were you doing out there? Her bioluminescent markings dimmed. I was running, she replied. From? She looked up at me, eyes sharp now. Alert. My people. That earned a pause. Care to explain? Saris inhaled slowly. I was promised.
Given.
Not asked. I sat down across from her. Promised to who? To the Covenant brokers, she said. My genetic compatibility made me valuable. My jaw tightened. I'd heard of them. Slavers, wrapped in legal language and interstellar loopholes. You escaped, I said. She nodded. Barely. They will come. Well, I said, leaning back, they won't find you here tonight. Her eyes lingered on me. You offered shelter. Yes. Her markings brightened faintly. In my culture, she said carefully, shelter is not a small thing. I smiled. In mine, it's just being decent. She studied me as if I'd spoken a foreign concept. The storm passed hours later, but Saris didn't move toward the door. Instead, she stood slowly and approached me, close enough that I could see the subtle tremor in her hands. "Elias," she said softly. "Yeah, I must make a request." I gestured to the chair. "Go ahead." She shook her head, not spoken lightly. Something in her tone made my stomach knot. "Okay," I said. "I'm listening." She leaned in, lowering her voice until it was almost a whisper. "Do not send me away." I blinked. I wasn't planning to. Her eyes glistened. "I do not mean tonight. I mean at all." The words hung between us. "I don't understand," I said slowly. She swallowed. "If I leave, they will find me. If I am found, I will be bound. Used. I am asking you to claim me under human protection." I stood abruptly. "Whoa. No. I'm not Saris. I can help you get to an asylum world. There are channels." She shook her head. "They will not accept me fast enough. Only a personal claim will override the broker's contract." I stared at her. "You're asking me to what?" "Own you." Her markings flared in distress. "No. To vouch. To bind your fate with mine. To say I belong with you." Silence filled the cabin. "I can't do that," I said, voice tight. "I won't." Her shoulders sagged. "I feared that," she whispered. I ran a hand through my hair. "Saris, listen to me. You're not property. I won't pretend you are just to save you." She looked up sharply. "You misunderstand." I frowned. "In my culture," she said, "binding is not ownership. It is responsibility. You would become my shield. I would become your charge by choice." That didn't make it easier. "You barely know me," I said. She met my gaze. "You opened the door. That stopped me cold." "You could have ignored the storm," she continued. "You could have turned me away. You did not. That tells me who you are." I looked away, jaw clenched. "I'm not a hero," I said quietly. She smiled faintly. "Neither am I." The brokers came at dawn. My sensors screamed, warning me seconds before the skimmer broke through the canyon mist. Armed figures disembarked, weapons visible, confident. Sarah stiffened. "They are here." I swore under my breath and grabbed my calm. "This is a private residence," I said firmly. "Turn around." A voice crackled back. "We are here to retrieve stolen property." I stepped outside, planting myself between them and the door. "She's not property," I said. "And she's under my protection." The leader sneered. "And who are you to make that claim?" I thought of Saris's whisper. Her fear. Her trust. "I'm human," I said. "And I'm saying no." The tension snapped like a wire. But before anyone fired, Saris stepped beside me. "I choose him," she said clearly. "By my will." Her markings blazed brilliant white. The brokers recoiled, shouting into their comms. Their legal claim unraveled in real time as her declaration triggered Interstellar statutes. They retreated, furious but powerless. When it was over, my hands were shaking. I turned to her. "You okay?" She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Because of you." I exhaled slowly. "Guess that answers your request." She smiled, truly smiled for the first time. "You did not send me away," she said. "No," I replied. I didn't. Weeks later, the cabin didn't feel so empty. Saris learned human customs. I learned hers. We argued, laughed, shared meals, and faced the future together, uncertain but unafraid. One night, as the moons rose again, she sat beside me on the porch. "You changed everything," she said softly. I smiled. "You knocked on my door." She leaned closer. "And you opened it." Sometimes that's all it takes.